The Fall of Kabul, Part 1, Prelude to Collapse. August 15, 2021, Kabul falls. Taliban fighters enter the capital without a single shot fired. But this shocking end was years in the making. In this episode, we unravel the collapse of Afghanistan, piece by piece. The seeds of this fall go back decades. After the U.S. toppled the Taliban in 2001, a new Afghan state was built, but it was weak, corrupt, and dependent on foreign aid. Billions of dollars poured into the country. An army of over 300,000 soldiers was trained, but beneath this surface was a fragile structure held together by international money and politics. The Taliban never disappeared. They went underground, regrouped, and built local alliances, especially in the rural areas. By 2021, they weren't just fighting, they were negotiating, influencing, and surrounding Afghan cities. So how did the world's most expensive nation-building project collapse in just 11 days? Let's begin the investigation. On April 14, 2021, President Joe Biden made a historic announcement. All American troops will leave Afghanistan by September 11th. With that, the clock started ticking on the U.S. exit and on Afghanistan's fate. The Taliban, who had been negotiating for months in Doha, now saw a clear timeline, and Afghan forces, who relied heavily on U.S. air support and logistics, felt abandoned. The Taliban didn't wait for September. They launched aggressive offensives across the country, targeting smaller districts first. Meanwhile, Afghan leadership tried to maintain calm, but morale inside the military crumbled. Soldiers knew once the Americans left no airstrikes, no reinforcements, no backup, U.S. forces began shutting down bases, withdrawing advisors, and leaving behind billions in equipment, some of which later fell into Taliban hands. In public, Afghan leaders downplayed the threat. In private, many were panicking. The Taliban strategy was clear. Take rural areas. First isolate major cities, then force surrender, not by fighting but by pressure and fear. Within weeks of Biden's announcement, district after district began falling. Not through massive battles, but through quiet, steady collapse. The chain reaction had begun. It started on August 6, 2021. The Taliban captured Zaranj, the capital of Nimruz province, the first major city to falling. What followed was a shockwave. In just 5 days, major cities began collapsing without real resistance. On August 8th, Kunduz, a major northern hub, was taken, then Talok and Sheberghan and Saripol. Afghan forces, outnumbering the Taliban, in many cases simply surrendered or fled. Why? They had no air support, no fuel, and no will to fight. Taliban commanders used a mix of force and fear, giving local troops and governors ultimatums: surrender peacefully or die. Many local leaders chose to flee. On August 12th, Herat, the cultural heart of western Afghanistan, fell. Then Ghazni opening the road to Kabul. By August 13th, Kandahar and Lashkargah were gone. These were not just cities, they were power centers, strongholds with thousands of Afghan troops. But the collapse wasn't just military, it was psychological. Once a few key cities fell, soldiers across the country felt it was over. 11 days, that's all it took for 20 years of U.S. nation building to unravel. August 15, 2021 marked a pivotal moment as the Taliban advanced towards Kabul, creating a storm of panic within the presidential palace, where ministers and aides frantically debated their next moves, caught in a web of confusion. In a shocking twist, President Ashraf Ghani vanished without a trace, leaving behind a stunned cabinet. His flight out of Afghanistan in a helicopter sparked outrage, with Defense Minister Bismillah Mohammadi publicly condemning the betrayal of their homeland. As the Afghan government found itself leaderless and paralyzed, security forces received no commands, leading to police abandoning their posts while the Taliban effortlessly marched into Kabul without firing a single shot. By sunset, Taliban fighters had taken control, recording videos from within the historic walls of power. The Islamic Republic of Afghanistan lay in ruins, leaving many citizens grappling with feelings of uncertainty and loss. In the aftermath, Ghani defended his flight, claiming it was to prevent bloodshed, yet for countless Afghans, his departure felt like a profound betrayal, leaving them grappling with the uncertainty of their nation's. August 15, 2021, the Taliban are at Kabul's gates. Inside the presidential palace, panic sets in. Ministers, guards, and advisors are unsure what to do. The chain of command is breaking. Then suddenly, President Ashraf Ghani vanishes. No televised address, no farewell. Just gone. Hours later, it's confirmed Ghani fled the country. He reportedly left in a helicopter with a close circle of aides, headed to Uzbekistan, then the UAE. Russian officials even claimed he left with bags of cash, a charge Ghani denies to this day. His departure shocked even his own cabinet. Acting Defense Minister Bismillah Mohammadi tweeted in disbelief, "They tied our hands behind our backs and sold the homeland." Curse Ghani and his gang. The Afghan government, leaderless and paralyzed, crumbled instantly. Afghan forces still in Kabul received no orders. Police abandoned their posts. The Taliban waiting outside the city were told, "You can enter." And they did, without firing a shot. By sunset, Taliban fighters were sitting behind Ghani's old desk, recording videos. The Islamic Republic. The Taliban were now in Kabul, but the real panic began at the airport, where thousands of Afghans, young old families with children, rushed to Hamid Karzai International Airport, desperate to escape. They climbed over walls, ran across runways, and clung to military planes as they taxied for takeoff while the U.S. military tried to secure evacuations for American citizens and allies. But the scenes were haunting as on August 16th, a U.S. Air Force C-17 took off while hundreds chased it, and in a horrifying moment, 2 Afghans fell from the sky, having clung to the aircraft's landing gear. That image, bodies falling midair, became the symbol of Afghanistan's collapse, while inside the airport, U.S. soldiers formed human walls, and outside Taliban fighters set up checkpoints as chaos reigned. Over the next 2 weeks, nearly 124,000 people were evacuated in what became one of the largest airlifts in history, but tens of thousands were left behind. Translators, NGO workers, activists, journalists. Some had visas, some had promises, but none had time, as Kabul Airport, once a symbol of international cooperation, had become a scene of desperation. For many Afghan women, the return of the Taliban meant a loss of hard-won rights and freedoms as they faced an uncertain future overshadowed by fear and despair. As the last flights left, hope turned to distress. Countless individuals were left behind, their dreams and aspirations scattered like dust in the turbulent winds of change. With the last flight departed, the airport fell silent, echoing the finality of an era, while soldiers began to question the legacy of their service in a country now under Taliban control. Life resumed in the streets outside, but for many, especially the children, the future felt clouded by uncertainty and fear as hope slowly faded into memories. In the heart of Kabul, small acts of defiance emerged. Whispers of resistance began to ripple through the community, showcasing the human spirit's resilience even in the face of oppression. In secret corners of the city, brave souls gathered, share ideas and hopes, igniting a quiet flame of resistance, proving that even in darkness, courage can light the way. As schools remained closed and uncertainty loomed, parents worried about the impact on their children's future, dreaming of a day when education would be restored.